All right, one more day of madness. And also one more lie. If just ordinary South African people knew how many lies have been told and how many lives have been lost due to all those lies, we have a right to be angry. But what do? We fight amongst ourselves. We are South Africans. We have got foreigners coming in here causing problems. We have, leaders dividing us. I am South African. Going back to the mid 1700s. Anyway, today I'm going to be reacting to a video, and I sincerely hope that we start realizing the absolute buffoons, liars that people have put into power to rule over them. Zuma, who can't read large numbers, left school in grade 4 and, blamed what? Poverty. Do you want to tell me that in the old South Africa, nobody would have paid for him? I know lots of children, white and black children, who went to school and, who paid? The government. A person either wants to go to school or not. Zuma can't even read in the beginning. So let's just see all the other leaders with their fake diplomas, degrees, and all that. Here we go.
What if I told you that some of the people making laws, running municipalities, and representing South Africa on the world stage never actually earned the right to be there? No degrees, no matric, no diplomas, just lies wrapped in CVs stamped with ANC logos and defended until the evidence became a national embarrassment. Today we are not naming and shaming for sport. We are diagnosing a sickness.
The whole thing also is they are not even shy about it, ashamed about it. They brag about it. Look at me. I am a leader. I don't know anything, but I am a leader. IQ is important. Leading a country, leading people. Because, otherwise you are going to lead them off the mountain. Into what? Chaos, mayhem. It is happening in South Africa now. When you go and look for a job, don't you have to have some kind of a certificate, matric thing showing you have, at least had some form of, schooling? These people, they haven't even got that. all, these clowns have is a big mouth and arrogance and pride and attitude. That's all they have, nothing else.
From Parliament to the SABC, from the Eastern Cape to Rustenburg, here is the definitive list of those who faked it, those who got caught, and those still clinging to credentials that melt under sunlight. Let's begin. Paulo Jordan, the revered struggle stalwart and former ANC minister, spent decades being addressed as Dr. Jordan, a title he never earned, because the PhD he claimed from the London School of Economics and the University of Wisconsin-Madison never existed, and when journalists finally checked, they found no record of him even completing a basic diploma, leading to his quiet resignation from Parliament in 2014, and an apology that arrived about 30 years too late, which in psychological terms is not a simple oversight, but a masterclass in cognitive dissonance, where a man who fought apartheid convinced himself that borrowing a doctorate was somehow part of the revolutions overhead. Masego Moetsi, an ANC councillor and regional executive member in Rustenburg, thought he could slide a fake matrix certificate past the vetting process for a mayoral committee position. Spoiler alert, he could not, leading to his arrest in 2024, with the ANC issuing a stern warning against fake qualifications while presumably keeping a straight face.
So, ANC reprimands him, but they are doing the same.
Because the psychology here is less about desperation and more about entitlement, the belief that rules apply to everyone except the comrade with a right party card. Sitselo Shitseka, the former ANC MP and Minister of Cooperative Governance, listed a master's degree in political economy from the University of the Free State on his official CV, a degree he never held, and while his political career continued for a time, the misrepresentation stands as a textbook case of what forensic investigators call credential inflation with impunity.
And this is what gets me. They steal. They are getting paid so much money. And the voters still vote for them and keep them, in power, overlords. And you blame us. You blame me, because of my skin color. I can tell you right now, God, made me like he made you for a purpose. But no, we shall allow the snakes in to come and, I'm telling you, divide us over pettiness. In the meantime, the whole country is burning.
Where the liar assumes no one will ever make the phone call to verify, and often, for years, no one does. Carl Niehaus, the ever-present ANC spokesman and
This guy is one of the biggest buffoons I have ever seen in my life. He is so full of hate.
professional controversy magnate, was forced to step down in 2009 after it emerged that he had falsely claimed a master's degree and a doctorate in theology from the
It doesn't matter what color you are. If you have faked degrees, diplomas, matric, we should call each other out. Theology, oh please. This guy, he spent years in jail. When he came out eventually, he was so full of hate. That's the only thing keeping him going is hate. The same as, Malema, Zuma, Ramaphosa, all of them, is hate. That is keeping them going.
University of Utrecht, and let us pause here to appreciate the audacity, claiming fake theology degrees while working for a political party that expects moral authority. The behavioral psychology suggests a personality structure where attention and loyalty to the cause become substitutes for actual achievement, and the lie becomes a performance of worth.
If he got fired in 2009, what's he still doing? Hanging around, protesting, all that. All that.
Shabalala, former SABC chairperson appointed under ANC influence, told Parliament she held a BCom degree and a postgraduate diploma in labour relations from UNISA. But when UNISA was asked, they had no record, and her defence that her certificates were stolen in a burglary was so creatively thin that a parliamentary inquiry found her guilty of misconduct and lying under oath, leading to her resignation in 2014, with the kind of exit that makes one wonder if the only thing stolen was the truth. Hlaudi Motsoeneng, the former SABC COO, whose rise under ANC-aligned leadership became a national case study in how low the bar can go, was found by the public protector to have misrepresented his qualifications, including lacking a matrix certificate for a role that explicitly required it, and while he denied some claims, the findings stood, and the country was left with the uncomfortable realization that a person who could not prove high school completion was making decisions affecting public broadcasting policy.
It's a well-known fact. ANC leaders, not all of them, and different levels, just relax. They actually did not complete much primary school. High school, I don't know about, but I'm to you, primary school, many of them left because they were fighting for liberation. And now you have parties over you, pushing you down, feeding you all kinds of lies, and the stupid are basically leading the stupid.
Oscar Mabuyane, the current ANC Premier of the Eastern Cape, has been implicated in a plan to obtain a fraudulent master's degree from the University of Fort Hare without the prerequisite honours degree. Investigations have been reported. He denies wrongdoing and is suing Julius Malema for defamation, but the Special Investigating Unit has not gone away. And the psychology of a sitting Premier clinging to a tainted qualification suggests either genuine innocence or a risk calculation where admitting error feels more damaging than riding out the storm. Notsolo Kiviet, an ANC MP and former Eastern Cape Premier, was named among senior politicians referred to the Special Investigating Unit for obtaining postgraduate qualifications at the University of Fort Hare without the required undergraduate degrees, a pattern so common at that institution that one might need a fake degree just to count the number of politicians involved. And the behavioral thread linking all these cases is the normalization of shortcuts among people who believe their political status exempts them from academic due process. Mohau Peko, the former South African ambassador to Japan and Canada, claimed a PhD from American La Salle University, which had closed years earlier after being exposed as a diploma mill selling fake degrees online, and when asked to verify the qualification, she could not, because you cannot verify something that was typed onto a certificate by a company that no longer exists except in the memories of fraud investigators. Gotsiligozi Batsi, an ANC councillor in the Mamusa local municipality of Northwest, allegedly claimed a matric certificate, 5 diplomas, and a doctorate, all false, with the diplomas supposedly issued by a non-existent institute, which is the academic equivalent of inventing a university in your living room and expecting the Auditor General not to notice. The sheer scale of the lie suggests a personality that confuses confidence with competence and assumes that volume of claimed credentials will overwhelm scrutiny. Pakiso Patrick Mokoena, a former manager at Dilabeng municipality in the Free State, was arrested for presenting a fraudulent matric certificate to secure a municipal manager contract. A reminder that fake qualifications are not a victimless crime, because every honest candidate who followed the rules was pushed aside for someone who printed lies, and every taxpayer paid the price of his administrative incompetence. Boy Mamabolo, an ANC MP, was removed from the party's parliamentary list because he could not provide a matric certificate, and even after a diploma was later confirmed, the ANC said...
And then we've got these, like, mamas in the ANC who can't even say the word conscientiously. Everybody sits there and laughs and thinks it's funny. She is taking the oath. I am telling you now, these people there should not even be there.
The decision would not be reversed, which is the political equivalent of closing the barn door after the horse has not only bolted, but given a press conference. Chepo Koza, Deputy Speaker of the Northwest Legislature and Sanko Provincial Chairperson, was accused of forging his metric certificate and resigned as Deputy Speaker, a rapid exit that suggests even he knew the game was up, and the psychological takeaway is that forgery is often a final desperate act by someone who has risen beyond their actual ability and fears exposure more than they fear the law. Princess Faku, Buffalo City Metro Mayor and ANC Regional Chair, faced calls from the EFF for her resignation over allegations of fraudulent registration at Fort Hare for her LLB degree. She obtained the degree after a court order and denies any wrongdoing, but the stench of irregularity lingers.
And this is what amazes me. They are caught out, but their absolute stubbornness and their plain denial of just, there is nothing I have done wrong. They will die on that hill.
Because when a court has to intervene to make a degree legitimate, the degree was never legitimate in the first place. Mike Basopu, a former ANC MP and candidate for Buffalo City Deputy Mayor, allegedly registered for a PhD at Fort Hare unlawfully, failing to meet minimum entry requirements. And one must ask, if you cannot meet the entry requirements for a PhD, what exactly do you think a PhD is for? The answer, apparently, is decoration. Zwelo Masilela, the ANC Youth League Treasurer General, was referred to the ANC Integrity Commission after it was revealed he worked as a senior researcher without a post-matric qualification, a senior researcher with no qualification beyond high school, which is like hiring a surgeon who has only watched medical dramas, except the research he produced shaped policy. Sepati Mavis Mabula, Director of Corporate Services at Dilabeng Municipality, was flagged by the Auditor General for an alleged fraudulent bachelor's degree that lacked a certificate number and date, the kind of administrative detail that only matters when someone bothers to check. And the Auditor General bothered, which is why South Africa still has some institutions that function. Vincent Mdunge, the former KZN police spokesperson and a high-profile public face of the police under ANC-led administration, was found guilty of fraud for using a fake matrix certificate to join the police force and advance his career, sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2015, proving that while politicians often escape, police officers who fake qualifications to enforce the law face a different arithmetic of justice. Zwelile Dlamini, a municipal official with regional ANC connections, faced a call from the ANC in the Mazala-Nxumalo region in 2022 for an investigation into his qualifications after allegations emerged that he possessed bogus certificates, including a degree in police science and a diploma from Sweden. Because why fake a local degree when you can fake an international one and add a little Nordic exoticism to your CV?
And haven't you noticed 99% of them happen to be ANC buddies and family members and comrades, and you were with us in the struggle.
Thembinkosi Patekile, the Western Cape Provincial Police Commissioner, has faced intense scrutiny and allegations, most recently in 2026, for misleading Parliament regarding the status and qualifications of officers under his command, which is not a fake degree on his own part, but a different form of credential fraud, administrative deception by proxy, where the lie becomes organizational culture. The psychology behind this epidemic is not complicated, just uncomfortable. When a political movement becomes a gatekeeper of jobs rather than a vehicle of service, the people inside it begin to see qualifications as obstacles to be hacked rather than knowledge to be acquired. Imposter syndrome is usually the fear of being found out, but in these cases, many of these individuals were genuinely unqualified, and they knew it, so they did not suffer from imposter syndrome. They suffered from ambition without ability, and they solved the mismatch with fraud. South Africa now faces a future where trust in public credentials is radioactive. Every CV is suspect. Every degree from certain universities is questioned.
Okay, this, I don't know whether I fully agree with this man speaking, because maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe that the Ramaphosa and his friends are actually doing something about it, because if that were the case, Ramaphosa would be out. So we've got a bunch of clowns, incompetent clowns, running South Africa. And they want us to fight one another about apartheid and this, and they want to change history, which they have. They have actually changed history a lot.
And the National Qualifications Framework Amendment Act, which makes lying on a CV a criminal offense with up to 5 years in prison, is the legislative equivalent of putting a bandage on a bullet wound. The real cost is not the embarrassment but the erosion of meritocracy. When fake degrees get real jobs, honest graduates stay unemployed, municipalities are run by frauds, and the country's already strained service delivery collapses under the weight of people who could not pass matric, but passed themselves off as doctors. The future, unless there is a ruthless public and ongoing purge, is more of the same. A slow rot where qualifications become optional, integrity becomes a liability, and every new scandal is met with a shrug. So here we are, 20 names, 20 stories. And that is just the ones we know.
Yeah.
South Africa does not need more laws against fake qualifications. It needs the will to enforce the ones already on the books. Until then,
Agree.
every fake degree is a real theft of opportunity, of trust, of the future. If you want accountability, do not wait for the SIU. Share this video. Tag your...
And that is the whole thing. That's the whole thing. There is no accountability because our leaders are so corrupt that they don't want to do anything, because then it means that they are, I tell you, also guilty. And they've got so many secrets and so many absolute corrupt dealings with just pure evil. So that was it. Thank you for actually watching, and see you on the next one. Bye.